Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts. I guess you guys could say this is my review for Metallica's Hardwired to Self-Destruct, but really this video is just more of my thoughts about the record. I really didn't want to structure it like a review, so I guess I'll just call it my review slash thoughts on the record. The only real structure that I will be having in this video is when I go through all the songs in order like they are on the track listing. So when I start from Hardwired, I'll go all the way down to track number 12, Spit Out the Bone, so I'll just go in that order. That's the only real structure. So anyways, let's get into my thoughts about this record. So after I recorded all my reactions to all the music videos, including Lords of Summer, but before I checked out Lords of Summer the next day, but after I finished Spit Out the Bone, Friday the day it released, I started listening to the album in its intended order from track number 1, Hardwired, all the way to 12, Spit Out the Bone, in its intended order, because Metallica didn't release the videos in order. And hearing the songs individually for these reaction videos that I did, hearing for the first time in that way, and kind of just spending quite a bit amount of time on one song and then taking a break and then doing another video and listening to the next song in its order that Metallica released the videos, was a unique experience because I was able to experience that song by itself and not compare it to the song I heard before and then start thinking about the song after and then comparing it to the song I just heard. So I was hearing it individually as this, and then I moved to the next. But then hearing the album in its intended order with the 3 songs, of course, that were singles, and hearing the singles compared to the other songs, I saw a big difference. Metallica released the singles that Metallica released, that was what I'm trying to say, are very different than the majority of the actual record. I feel like releasing Hardwired was an interesting choice because Hardwired is a song that is so by itself on this record. And I'll talk about that more when I get to the track listing, but it is so by itself. Moth and the Flame kind of fits in the same category as some other tracks, but it kind of is by itself too, in a sense, if you look at the rest of the tracks and how they're structured and how they play out. Moth and the Flame feels like it's its own separate thing. Atlas Rise sounds like a couple of the other tracks in terms of the structure, but it's interesting choices that they made to release the singles for this record. There's a lot to enjoy on this record for me personally because I love the huge variety of Metallica. I love the old 80s thrash with Kill 'Em All, Ride, Master, Justice. I love the Black Album. I love Load and Reload. It took me some time personally, I'll be honest. It took me time to get into Load and Reload, but when I did, it felt like I discovered a brand new band. It really did. It was that amazing of an experience for discovering and really getting into Load and Reload, because at first I wasn't interested, but it took me some time, but damn, did it change me. Saint Anger, let's not go down that road. Yeah, so for me, after hearing this album multiple times since Friday daily, and I listened to it twice in a row today, there are some songs that when I reacted to them, some songs have risen up that I'm enjoying more than my initial listen for the first time. And that's obvious because music is very subjective. Music changes all the time, and the way we interpret music and the way we grab a hold of songs, it feels different mostly. Some songs have kind of stayed the same as my experience for the first time, and some songs have kind of dipped lower, which is unfortunate, but this is not a horrible record. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh my god, they failed, holy shit, what'd they do? But for me, I feel like there are some moments where this album could be a lot better. It's a double disc, it could be a lot better, but for what it is, I'm very pleased and I'm very happy with this record, and I'm glad that I own the deluxe edition digitally. I'm going to buy the physical deluxe edition very soon. So let's get to the actual structure, which is going through all the individual songs. Maybe that's what you guys are curious to know, is my thoughts about these songs now compared to when I recorded my reactions days ago. So, start off with the first single that we had, track number 1, Hardwired. Now, I mentioned earlier that the song stands by itself. It's by itself on this record. It really is by itself, because this song is so different than any of the other songs on the record. Now, you could say, well, Now That We're Dead has only a few things. It's a long song, but there's only a few things within the song that really switch it up. Hardwired's the same way. True, but Hardwired is way more basic, in my personal opinion, than Now That We're Dead. Hardwired really only has 3 riffs on the record. Only 3. And I'm not going to count the riffs that play behind the guitar solo, because there might have been a different riff behind the guitar solo. I could be wrong, but there's only 3 riffs for that entire song, and it's fast-paced, it's thrash, but it stands by itself because you can say spit out the bone. That's thrash, that's crazy, but spit out the bone is a huge variety of stuff within the song, which I'll get to, but Hardwired is basic, simple thrash. It's by itself over here, and I love it as an album opener, but understanding, if you listen to that song first, it's the first thing on the record, it's the first single they put out, the very first song off this new record. We all expected at a certain level that most of this album was going to be top-notch, fast, crazy thrash metal. Not the case at all. So it's very interesting that was the song that they put out as the single. It's very interesting. Number 2, I forgot to mention my thoughts. I still enjoy the track, but hearing the rest of the album, Hardwired is still a good song. It just feels like they could have done more, because listening to Spit Out the Bone, Hardwired could have been about a minute longer and add some more variety within the verses and chorus. But for what it is, it's a simple thrash track that I still headbang and enjoy, but I wish it was something more. So anyways, okay, yeah. Number 2, Atlas Rise, the 3rd single they put out. Very Iron Maiden influence, but I like that, and I like the fact that there's a lot of guitar harmony, and I think that's the beauty of this record, is that there's a lot of guitar harmony on this record, not just within Atlas Rise, but there's a lot in Atlas Rise. But I love the chorus. It's so unique. It's unique to Metallica. It's not unique to other bands like Iron Maiden, obviously, but it's unique to Metallica in a sense, and I really dig that track. Atlas Rise I still love listening to. The intro could be a little bit shorter after hearing it, because I feel like we could get to the main riff quicker, because I feel like the intro is too long. I've noticed that throughout listening, because even though I've been able to hear Atlas Rise a lot longer than these other songs, we could have had a shorter intro to get to the the main riff a little bit faster. I had a bad day, guys. My brain is fried from work. Track number 3, Now That We're Dead. This is a song, this is really polarizing. Either you love the song or you hate the song. For me, Now That We're Dead is catchy, but there's not a lot going on within the song. That's the unfortunate part for me, is that this song was catchy with the heavy, slow riffs, but then it got to a point where I'm just like, there could be more. There could be more within this song. They could have added some more, but unfortunately, it is what it is now. We can't change it. Unfortunately, they can't change it. Now That We're Dead, I feel like, to me, is one of the weaker songs on the record. I still enjoy it when I listen to it, when I listen to the album in its entirety, but compared to the other tracks on here, it is one of the weaker songs on the record, in my personal opinion. Yeah. Moth and a Flame, track number 4. Moth and a Flame really set, even though Hardwired set a standard for what we expect from the record, Moth and a Flame, when that single came out, really blew things out of the water. It shot through the roof. It really gave us high expectations, because that song is a massive song. It is packed with amazing riffs, amazing vocals from James, some great playing by all the band members. It is a fantastic song. I still love Moth and a Flame, even though I've been able to hear it a lot longer than the rest of these new songs from the record. Moth and a Flame still is a top-notch song in my personal opinion. I can't get enough of that track. Really can't. I just love everything about it. Dream No More, track number 5. Slower paced song, but I dig it. Because it reminds me of the Black Album stuff. It reminds me, at some parts, it reminds me of Harvester of Sorrow a little bit. But overall, I enjoy this track because James's vocals, number 1, is just, James' vocals sound great on Dream No More. And I love the chorus. It is slow, crunchy, heavy, but I dig it. I dig that part about the song. There's a difference between being slow and boring, and being slow and getting energy and making the listener get into the groove and really dig it and make it catchy and make us amped and excited for that. And I feel like Dream No More is a nice balance of some really catchy vocals and some really crunchy, catchy guitar riffs that for me as a fan of vocals and a really big fan of vocals and a really big fan of guitar riffs and solos in general, I really dug this song. It's kind of stayed in the middle in terms of where my reaction was. It's kind of stayed there. It hasn't really risen up, but I still dig the track. Number 6, Halo on Fire. This song is a monster. It is amazing, and people pointed out this could be technically called the ballad of the record, which I have to agree because the verses are slow, clean guitar parts. But what really makes this song go from a pretty good song to a great song is that ending. The ending with Kirk playing that amazing guitar melody and then getting into a guitar solo and the band slowly playing faster. It just amps up the song, and it really changes up the song. I really dig this. I'm glad that this was the song that closes off the first album, because it feels like a closer. It feels like an ending to a record, but it's only the ending to the first disc, which I think is great. So Halo on Fire, I think, is one of the best songs on the record in my personal opinion. Halo on Fire has a lot to offer. Some great drumming, in my personal opinion, from Lars. Great vocals, great lyrics from James. Great guitar parts from James and Kirk. And the bass can be heard, and I love the bass parts on Halo on Fire. Even though it's following along the guitar most of the time, still love it. But that's one big thing also, is that Rob Trujillo can actually be heard. Rob can actually be heard playing bass. Death Magnetic, you can hear it, but not that much. But on here, wow. Halo on Fire, like I said, one of the best songs on the record in my personal opinion. It just, wow. I wish it was longer, to me, in my personal opinion. I wish it was a longer song. Even though it's only 18 minutes long, 8 minutes. Jesus. My brain's fried. I'm sorry. It's only 8 minutes long. I want it to be longer. Give me a 10-minute version of Halo on Fire. I'll take it. Disc 2. This is where things can get choppy. But for me, it didn't. But it all depends on my mood. Because whatever type of mood I'm in, it kind of shifts how I take these songs a little bit. But let's get into Disc 2. Track number 7, officially Confusion. This is, I think, the intro starts off great. And I think that a lot of people have really gravitated to the song in terms of the lyrics and what the song is about. And the music video that goes along with it is a great example. It really illustrates what the song's about. And the music video really does give Confusion a different experience for the listener. And hearing the song for the first time, watching the music video, was definitely a very different experience than listening to the song by itself while I'm listening to the album in its intended order, track listing wise. Confusion to me hasn't really shifted. It's kind of stayed in the middle. There's some days when I've listened to the track that it goes a little bit higher, a little bit lower. It kind of fluctuates. It's a fluctuating track, but it's not a horrible song. I really do enjoy it. I never hear this track and go, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. No, I feel like it kind of fluctuates a little bit. It never goes to like Now That We're Dead level, where I'm kind of just wanting it to end so I can get to the next track, because I feel like Now That We're Dead could be a lot better. Track number 8, Man Unkind. This is a very interesting track. It's very strange. Hearing it multiple times, the time signature, or maybe not the time signature, not so much of that. Maybe it's just more of how Lars is playing that middle section, the bridge. People say, call it the bridge. It's not a middle section. Call it the bridge. Just understand. You get what I'm saying. That drum part that he plays. Now, the drums he plays in the verses, too, are kind of strange, but it's following along with the guitars. But what he does in that one section towards the middle of the song, very different from Lars. It's not simplistic, but it's also not technical. It's kind of in the middle. It's just very strange, because it's something different, because you're used to hearing just the regular simple beat. But he's not doing that. He's doing something a little bit different, and it threw me off at hearing it for the first time. And then hearing it throughout this record again, it's one of those times where Lars does something different than you're expecting, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing. For me personally, I feel like it's just interesting that he's able to surprise me as a Metallica fan who's listened to all their albums a lot. Saint Anger not as much, but the rest, holy crap, listen to them a ton. And he's able to surprise me, that's a good thing. But Man Unkind, it's a very interesting track. I'm not going to say it's an amazing song. I'm not going to say it's a great song. I feel like it's a good song that has some good things within it. And I do love that middle section where things slow down, and then James comes in with his really melodic vocals. But Man Unkind is a very interesting song. I have to listen to it a lot more to get a feel. Now we're going to get to some really good ones, my personal opinion. Here Comes Revenge is probably in my top 3 songs of the album. Halo on Fire is definitely in the top 3. Halo on Fire and Here Comes Revenge is definitely up there as well. Oh, obviously I would put Moth in the Flame, but I've heard that song so much. But just talking about the brand new songs we haven't heard until this record dropped, Halo on Fire is up there, and Here Comes Revenge. That song, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the amazing verse, in my personal opinion, with the dun-dun, that bass, that just adds so much. When the drums and the bass go dun-dun throughout the verse, it just catches me, and that verse is amazing. I love the riffs. I love the music video. Really does go well with the actual song. Like, I feel like listening to the song for the first time while watching the music video was a whole experience that I would not have experienced that if I heard the song by itself for the first time. But Here Comes Revenge is definitely a beautiful song. I love the riffs. I just love everything about that track. Here Comes Revenge is just a very unique song, but it's so damn good. It's so damn good. I can't get enough of it. Like, I just want to hear it over and over and over, but I want to give all the songs its equal chance when I'm listening to this record, so I'm not constantly listening to Here Comes Revenge, because I'll eventually get tired of the song if I constantly keep repeating it. So I try to maintain myself and not listen to the song that much. I just can't get enough of Here Comes Revenge. Am I Savage is catchy. It's a catchy track. Track number 10. Is it amazing? No. But it is so damn catchy, I can't get enough of listening to certain riffs. The main riff, I can't even do it now because I haven't heard the song in about 3 hours. So I'd have to listen back in. But that main riff, and then the riff where it's like, it's something like that. It's horrible, I know. I'm sorry. But Am I Savage is a very catchy track. It's not an amazing, oh my god, masterpiece 10 out of 10, but Am I Savage is just a very good, groovy type track to get you into the music and to really dive in. And I do like how James does his verses. Very interesting. And then I love how he says, Am I Savage? I love that. But the lyrics I think James wrote for Am I Savage is really good. So here we get to the tribute song, Murder One, the Lemmy tribute, track number 11. Listening to the song for the first time while watching the music video for Murder One is probably the best experience I've had listening to any of these other tracks while watching the music video. Murder One's music video is just something special entirely, and then with the actual song added in, it's a beautiful song, and I think it's a beautiful tribute to Lemmy. I love the lyrics. I love the heaviness, and they're going for that Motorhead influence with the song. Murder One could have been easily a ballad. Could have been easily, but they said, fuck it, we're going to go for the heavy song. We're going to go for the heaviness, and I'm glad they did, because this song is just powerful. A very powerful song. I feel like if you have the opportunity to listen to the song anytime you want, you definitely need to hear the song while watching the music video for a couple of times. Because once you see the music video, if you haven't seen the music video, which you should if you haven't, watch it whether before you hear the song or after. It changes your experience. Like, seeing the music video and listening to the song for the first time changed my mind about what it could be, because I feel like that if I heard the song for the first time without watching the music video, I'm trying to catch my thoughts here. Wow. I kind of lost a train of thought. I feel like if I listened to the Murder One, the song, for the first time without watching the music video, my experience probably would have been a lot different. But watching the music video while listening to the song really changed everything. And now I appreciate and respect the song a lot more for what it is, because that music video really showcased what the song was about, and I feel like it really worked. That's what I was trying to say. I was kind of losing my train of thought because I'm going for almost 20 minutes, and I'm trying to keep everything structured, at least structured to the point where the video is not a complete bomb and failure. Okay, Murder One, phenomenal. Track number 12, Spit Out the Bone. Everyone was freaking out about this song. And understandable. When I finally heard it, I could not believe it. I think this is the song that has had the most change in my personal opinion from hearing it for the first time was an experience. Like, holy shit. I'm not sure, but Spit Out the Bone by itself might be better than the entirety of Death Magnetic. I don't know. Did I make that statement? I might have. It might be the song alone might be better than the entirety of Death Magnetic. I'm not sure. But listening to the song multiple times since then to me, it keeps getting better and better. It really does. It keeps getting better and better, in my personal opinion. I can't get enough of the song. It truly is the best way to end the record. It truly is the best way. It is so fucking heavy. So fucking massive. So fucking thrash. I can't get enough of this song. Imagine if this album contained 3 or 4 or more songs just like Spit Out the Bone. Jesus Christ. I don't know if I'd be able to contain the amount of excitement I would have if that was the case. They started off the album with Hardwired and they ended with Spit Out the Bone. They start off with a thrash short song, then they end with a thrash long track with so much variation, so much to love about that track, and a fucking bass solo section. Are you fucking kidding me? It sucks we had to wait 8 years for this album. We got it. My final verdict, I'm not going to score it. I'm just going to say that this album fluctuates for me. It's not, I never get to a point where I feel like the album is slow and terrible, god-awful, and oh my god. It fluctuates in the sense of where I think it's a good record, to a decent record, and goes back up to a great record. I feel like this album could be better overall, but when you talk about individual tracks, it gets more complicated. Because it all depends on, I feel like your mood shifts. When your mood shifts, you think differently about this record, in my personal opinion. You do. Because there's so much variety within this album that it all depends on what you're feeling that day. Because there's not one constant structure throughout this record. There's not one constant thing happening throughout this record besides the play style and the sound of the guitars and the tone. There's no one constant thing happening throughout this entire record in terms of songwriting. There's not one constant. There's not. So for me, it's a fluctuating record. Am I going to list it as one of the best Metallica records of all time? It just depends on how much longer I listen to this record and how much more it gets into me and how much more this music gets into my system and it starts messing around with the other songs. Because I have all of Metallica's discography in here. It never goes away. So once this album gets in there fully, I can kind of start figuring out if it's one of the best, kind of in the middle. I don't think this album's ever going to become like one of the worst. I don't think so. No. I feel like this album is definitely in that middle range. It could possibly become one of the best. I don't know. I don't think so, but we'll see. So overall, my final thoughts for Hardwired to Self-Destruct is that it is an album that I think you can't listen to this album one time in its entirety as it's intended, because I don't think you're going to fully grasp what's on this record. Even though I heard all the songs individually with my reactions for the first time, hearing them all in the track listing order is a different experience, and I think that I had to hear it multiple times in order for me to fully grasp why Metallica placed these songs in the orders that they are, and for me to fully grasp what they're all doing and what's happening all at once. You know, it's an interesting experience. I'm glad they did a double disc, but if they would have did one disc and had 10 tracks, I don't know what I can tell you right now. If they did one disc, 10 tracks, and we had to decide what 2 songs to take off this record, I would take off Now That We're Dead, and I would take off Dream No More. Those are the 2 songs I would take off in that instance. But we have them, 12 tracks. We have Lords of Summer, obviously studio version, but there's minor differences to the actual song. But Hardwired to Self-Destruct is an interesting experience. I keep repeating that, but it's true. It really is. It's interesting. It fluctuates. Curious to know your thoughts. If you're still watching right now in 25 minutes, but let me know in the comment section below, guys. what you thought about this record. What are your thoughts? I'm curious to know what you're thinking about this record. What's your favorite track off the record besides Spit Out the Bone? If Spit Out the Bone is your number one favorite song, what's your second? Because Spit Out the Bone's an obvious answer. What is your favorite song off the album besides Spit Out the Bone if it is your favorite track? But if it's actually not, then tell me what your actual favorite track is. Thank you so much for watching my, I almost said reaction. Wow. My review. Thoughts. Whatever. Okay, I'm done rambling. I'm going to go eat my dinner now. Because I'm hungry as shit. I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.